Hello, everybody. Welcome back to There's a First Time for Everything. As most of you can see, I had to give up on the green screen for now. It's making everything lag. Last episode, I was like, looked like Max Headroom or something. It was stupid. So, took the green screen down. I'll probably upgrade some equipment and bring it back because I know how much everybody loves it. I got so many comments about it from like, I don't know, one or two people. But tonight's guest, is probably the comic without, I don't want anyone that's been on here previously to take this as some type of insult or slight. I obviously love everyone that I've had on here. But this dude, the first time I met him, he was featuring for a guy named Butch Lord from Kansas City at the club here in Des Moines. And as the feature that week, I thought he was the best comic I'd ever seen. And then the next time I saw him, he was even better. And every time I see him, I kind of want to quit, to be honest with you. He's a guy that ever since day one just had this level of not give a fuck on stage and even off stage, really, without seeming like an arrogant asshole. I don't know how he pulled it off. We all have our personalities, I guess, and somehow this guy pulls it off. I don't know anyone on planet Earth that can have the moxie on stage, the intelligence on stage, be a great guy off stage, and not in some way, shape, or form come off as some kind of arrogant fucking asshole. I don't know how he does it, honestly. But yeah, my guest tonight is very highly respected amongst comics. I again, I don't know another comic that's more respected by his peers than the one and only Chad Daniels. Everybody,
hello. How are you? Startled me. I was
your rabbit.
Yeah. How's it going?
Not bad, man. The pandemic sucks for all of us, and
yeah,
we're all just trying to find ways to pass the time and kind of have some good times in the moment. But I don't know. I'd be lying if I said at some point I haven't thought about jumping off a bridge this whole fucking time.
When you thought about jumping off a bridge, were you going to wear that cowboy hat that's on your little mantle thing?
Oh my God. I didn't even realize that was there because I've had this green screen behind me the whole time. So that cowboy hat, Kyle Dunnigan, right?
I do.
So have you seen Craig's News Live yet?
So
the Craig character, right?
Yep.
So he's doing this. I think they're doing it 3 days a week now. But they were doing it every day.
Okay.
So it's Craig's News Live, and it's Craig, and he's got like a CNN theme, like it's a hard-hitting live news broadcast.
That's funny.
And our buddy Johnny Bush plays Mr. Nichols on that show. And
God, John Bush. Before you finish this story, John Bush has made me laugh harder. In a showroom, I have had to leave. I mean, he's so stinking funny. He's so animated. His jokes are socially relevant, but he still like gets in this animation that just destroys me. He used to do this thing about Broadway actors and actresses running out after the show and they're completely out of breath. And I'd have to leave because all he's doing is breathing hard. That's all he's doing. And I could not get myself to quit laughing. And the people would turn around at the show and they'd look at me and like, You're ruining this. It's like, I think this is what we're supposed to do, but I will leave because I'm not going to be able to shut it down anytime soon.
Are you talking about the ice skater bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he's like afterwards, after they're done with their.
Yeah, but it's such,
Yeah, I don't do it justice because it's his face.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, because who knows? You could be asymptomatic with COVID. You take too many deep breaths, you pass out.
Yeah, that I know exactly the bit you're talking about, and it slays me too. And that's his facial expressions are pretty much second to none. Like, have you ever seen Triple Espresso, that play that he's done?
I was just going to bring that up. I had never seen it, but the run that play went on,
it's still on it.
But yeah, he's still on it.
Yeah, well, he did a several month run last year around the holidays.
Unbelievable. And I remember, so I would see him around Acme Comedy Company when I started, and then I went to the Thomas Crown Affair.
Yes,
and when I got up and started stomping around, I started walking up and down the aisle like, that is John Bush! That's John Bush! Like screaming about it. Like an absolute lunatic, because I knew who it was. I just was losing my mind.
Yeah. My wife used to, well, my ex-wife now, but she used to get on my ass all the time when we'd be watching a movie or something and I'd see someone I know. And I would just say their name. Like, oh my God, that's Bert Kreischer. And she'd be like, why do you always got to say the guy's name? Like, why do you got to name? I'm like, I didn't expect him to be in this movie. I was just, hey, shit, that's one of my friends.
Conversation, there's surprise it didn't work out, but I have a question for you. So you normally have a green screen behind you, and then you have green headphones, the cord.
Yes.
So does that disappear in the green screen?
I guess I don't know. Maybe it does.
I guess it probably wouldn't because it's up against your other stuff. But
yeah, it's up against my shirt and stuff.
I started getting excited about it. I don't know. I've been locked up, man.
I know that I did. That's not something I expected to talk about tonight at all. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Bush,
yeah.
He's been having some internet issues at his house, so he's been doing Craig's News Live from my studio.
Oh, nice.
And so that's why that cowboy hat's there, because
I gotcha.
They always do a thing where they put a fucking hat or a wig on or something. And I can't wait, because you're gonna text me after this tonight, because I know you're gonna get on YouTube and you're gonna watch it, and you are gonna be like, "Holy fuck, this!" You're gonna thank me for telling you about it, because you're gonna be able to go down a rabbit hole. There's like 30 of them.
I am going to actually fall asleep immediately when I leave this I don't know what happened, Bill. I have hit like the speed slot of aging.
Yeah, like the wall.
Yeah, I got a dog. I go to bed at 10:30 now, as you take your sponsored Monster drink. But yeah, I go to bed at 10:30. I mean, I'm up. It's, have you seen those commercials? I can't remember what insurance agency it is, but it's about how not to end up acting like your parents.
Oh yeah.
Me. That's exactly me.
Yeah, it's that whole turn into your dad bit or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I turn into my dad, I'd die, but that wouldn't be great.
How long ago did that happen?
Don't know.
Oh, did you not ever know your dad?
I did, and then he left, and we're not sure if he's dead or not, but my sister and I just agreed to tell people that because it's easier.
Well, how old were you?
When he left, I was, let's see, so my parents got divorced. I'm going to guess, it's the year you get confirmed in a Lutheran church, so maybe 15 years old.
Yeah,
like that.
Somewhere between 13 and 15 probably.
Yeah, okay. And then I helped him steal, well, I didn't help him steal a car. I didn't know he was stealing a car, but
are you fucking shitting me?
No, I promise. And that's when I was 20, because I had just bought a new car, so I didn't see him much after the divorce, but He asked me to help him with something. Then he ended up stealing a car. And then he went to Las Vegas because some cops called me and they were like, hey, we found this car that your dad had. It was just parked on a Las Vegas street. And I was like, talk to him. I'm not his keeper. And then he ended up getting a hold of me several years later after I had my son, because my mom had saved these, when you collect baseball cards, if there's something called an error card, where if there's something wrong with the card, it's worth more.
Like so the Billy Ripken fuckface card.
Yeah. So my mom collected these dollar bills and $5 bills that had oddities to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gave them to me for confirmation present. Actually, he stole them from my mom and gave them to me for a confirmation present. Is actually what happened. So then one of the dollar bills had the front and the back stamped on the same side. And he was living in Las Vegas, I guess, and he heard about this dime, this coin that also had the front and back stamped on the one side, and it went for a bunch of money. So he was calling me all over town. He was calling my friends looking for me. And so finally I was like, yeah, you can have it. Just fucking leave me alone, please. So then he stopped down at my house, an hour south of Minneapolis is where I was living at the time, married, had a little boy. He stopped in and grabbed it. And I was just like, this is it. You take this. And he goes, well, what if I sell it? I'll split the money. I go, I don't want the money. You take it and this is it though. I don't want to talk to you again. So, and then we arm wrestled because I made him arm wrestle me before I'd give him the money, because I'd never beat him in arm wrestling. And so I beat him in arm wrestling. Then I gave him the money and then I said, go. I couldn't go winless.
Right.
And I had to beat him once, for Christ's sake.
Dude, see, that's kind of what I was talking about when I was introducing you. You're so fascinating. Like, how on God's green earth is it like, fuck you, I don't ever want to see you again. Take this fucking thing. I don't care about it. Like, knowing in the back of your head, it might be worth exactly what he's saying it's worth. And you don't even give a fuck.
Yeah,
and you're like,
sometimes you got to just cut ties.
Oh, I know, but the strength to do that's amazing to me, especially at that age. I mean, there's nothing worse than having a parent that you feel like doesn't want you. Like, that's one of the worst things on planet Earth.
Sure.
Which maybe you had already, coped with all that and done all that. But
who knows?
To that point,
I want to say right now that I have still a fantastic mother, and her parents, my grandparents, were out of this world amazing. So it's not like this woe is me story.
But of course not.
When I thought of him trying to split the money with me, all of a sudden we go halvesies on a lake cabin, and I got to see this motherfucker every weekend. No way. No chance. Take the dollar, get out of here. I don't want to see you again. You go buy your own lake cabin start a new family.
Oh, dude. Yeah. And that reminds me of a conversation you and I had in the green room somewhere. I think it was here. At the moment you gave your son all your baseball cards.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you telling me about that and how you had this whole conversation with him about it.
Yeah. I mean, it was, when I was younger, collecting baseball cards was what we did. We'd get our allowance. We'd go to the store, get baseball cards. And then, not always get our allowance, but because sometimes my dad he's still living at the house. He'd go get drunk. He was a liquor salesman. So he'd come home and he'd sleep till noon. So I'd sneak in his room and I'd grab some money out of his pants pockets because he never knew how much he spent at the bar. So then I'd go get some baseball cards. One time I got some basketball cards, about 2 packs of Fleer basketball cards. I got Michael Jordan's rookie card in one of them. Do not have it. I actually sold it to buy a pair of Michael Jordan high tops for basketball when I was younger. And I don't have the shoes anymore either, but probably about once a year, I'll go online and Google how much is a Michael Jordan rookie card worth, and then just sit on the toilet and weep.
How much is it worth? When's the last time you saw it?
It's worth so much money. I don't have my phone right now, but it was six figures.
Really?
Yep.
So it's rare as fuck then.
It's very rare, yeah.
Because that's the thing about our generation. I mean, I think you're only just a few years older than me.
I'm 45 years old.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 42. So our generation ruined card collecting in a way because our dads told us about how they stuck the Pete Rose rookie card in their bicycle spokes and shit. And now it was and there were card shops everywhere. Everybody had a Beckett. Everybody had the price guide, and you'd go trade with people and you'd both have the price guide and all that bullshit. And then you'd run into somebody at school or something that didn't get it. They just, but Ryan Sandberg was their favorite player. Right. So you give him 3 Ryan Sandbergs for a Ken Griffey Jr. rated rookie or something.
Absolutely. I have a whole book of Darryl Strawberry cards, and the motherfucker backed Trump.
I didn't know that. Darryl Strawberry backed Trump?
Darryl Strawberry and Herschel Walker were sitting up there just like this. I have a Herschel Walker rookie card too, but I have a Herschel Walker tattoo, for Christ's sake.
You do?
I had, one of my first tattoos ever. The first one I ever got was Tasmanian Devil on my back. It was our senior trip, and me and my buddy, he got Wile E. Coyote, and I got Tasmanian Devil. I was almost 18. So, and the guy that tattooed us, his name was Swede. He's number 57 for the Chicago Bears, and he was the backup center. So when in practice, he would have to go up against Dick Butkus. Which is pretty rad. But this guy was in Denver, big biker dude, huge beard. You could tell back in the day he could move mountains. But
yeah.
And then I went to a high school buddy of mine. His dad, kind of a strange dad, had a tattoo shop. And so we went down and he was like, "Hey man, will you come with me to hang out with him?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Well, we get there and he's like, me. Just wants to do tattoos. He flexes the tattoo needle. Me. And we were like, "Yeah, let's do it." I was eating Cheetos, a little handbag of Cheetos at the time. And I go, "How about we do Chester Cheetah with a Herschel Walker jersey for the Eagles?" And that's what's on my left shoulder still. It's still there.
You know what though? That one doesn't make me laugh as much as the Tasmanian Devil. I can't in my wildest dreams ever imagine that Chad Daniels was ever a fucking cliche.
Big time. and I got him right over a mole that was on my back, so it looked like he was taking a shit. But
that's at least funny.
No, mole removed.
Oh,
they had to check it for cancer because I'm getting old.
Do you still have the Tasmanian Devil? You didn't do anything, cover it or anything?
No, I never see it. So I forget it's there until somebody goes, "Really, dude?"
Yeah, it's like having a tramp stamp almost.
I think it's worse than that.
No, not as I'm saying like a chick.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm still saying that Tasmanian Devil's worse than that.
No, I didn't think that's where you were going with it.
Yeah,
but it is. It's like the male version of it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So sometimes people will go, "Oh man, this guy in the 70s lured a bunch of people to murder for him, and they murdered celebrities. Can you believe that?" And it's like, yeah, I can believe anything. I have a Tasmanian Devil tattoo on my back. Anything you say to me, I can believe because check it out.
I also believe that guy had a swastika on his forehead. So
I think you're right.
What have you been doing? Have you got on stage at all?
I went out. So March 11th was my last show. I was in Spokane, Washington. And then I was supposed to go to fly to Seattle and do shows in Tacoma that weekend, 12, 13, 14. But Washington was just a nightmare. Nobody knew what this thing was. So I flew from Spokane back home. So March 11th was my last show until end of July, where then I went to St. Louis, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Columbus, Ohio. So I did a week's worth of shows, just kind of seeing what it was like out there. And then, I kind of fell in love this summer with being home. My kids are around. My daughter's a junior this year. My son's 21. So this is like prime time, right? I mean, time is flying. It's almost Christmas already of my daughter's junior year. So being home has been, I don't want to take away from the pain this has caused people, but if we're looking at a silver lining for me personally, being home with my kids and not just home, like when I was working, my daughter would be here when I was off, and then she'd go to her mom's when I was on the road. And that's just how it was. But now when she's at her mom's, her mom works, I'm at home. So she came over for lunch a couple of weeks ago, and, we get to see each other even on off weeks now. And I think it's been awesome. I mean, she'll probably sing a different tune, but
I doubt it. She made the effort to come and have lunch with you.
Well, that's true.
Did you, is she dating?
She is. She's
How's
had a
that going
boyfriend
for you?
a while, over a year. I like the kid. He's a good kid. He's he treats her well. There are some times where, the way she's talking to him, I'm like, I hope he pushes you off the dock. I do. But he's all about it. He really is a sweetheart of a kid, and
that's good.
Yeah, and we get along, and he's athletic, so I'm a very competitive guy. So we play spike ball this summer, and he probably let me score some points, but that's fine.
One of my favorite memories with you is playing wiffle ball at the hotel.
Oh man, I used to that thing.
You took a wiffle ball and a wiffle ball bat everywhere.
A fixture
for a long time.
Yeah, I sure did.
And it was that stupid fucking yellow skinny bat one too.
That's the wiffle ball bat, though. That's the original wiffle ball game. It's the one with the skinny yellow bat, and then the one that only has
all the holes
the
on
three
one in the top. Oh, on one side, just the three on the one. Was it three?
They have no. I think it's 5. So when you hold it on the sides, it curves or breaks or whatever you want to do with it. But
no, I remember throwing my fucking arm out.
Yeah,
trying to strike you out because, I mean, the wiffle ball weighs nothing.
Right.
At this point, I'm pretty sure I was in my 30s.
Yeah, we had to.
And I'm throwing this wiffle ball as hard as I fucking can.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand it either. I'm like, I gotta strike him out. Like,
yeah. And that's my retirement plan. What I want to do when I retire, if everything kind of goes back to we're able to travel, Americans are able to get into other countries and whatever. I want to move to Costa Rica, and I've wanted to do this forever. I probably told you this when we were playing. I want to go down there and have like a little class after school to show kids how to use tools and fix things around their house so they don't have to hire somebody. And then the deal is afterwards, half-hour wiffle ball so I can get 2 teams. It's not, people are like, you're so nice. It's like, I just want to play wiffle ball. That's it.
It would be fun to have start a little old man wiffle ball league or something. I think that'd be a blast.
It'd be absolutely incredible. If there was wiffle ball in the Olympics, I'm going to tell you something, and this is going to sound like a braggart. I think I'd make the team still.
Well, you definitely had a unique talent because I expected to be able to strike you out and whatever. I mean, I would get you a couple. I think I might have struck you out once or twice.
Sure.
But I would maybe get a strike or two and somehow you would fucking tattoo one at some point.
Well,
and you didn't even, because I played college baseball. So I was thinking I got a leg up because I remember talking to you and I don't think you played much past high school. Did you? You played in high school, didn't you?
Yeah, I played. There was a summer travel team, and I played 1 year after my senior year in that, but that was it. Okay.
And I mean, I just went to a JUCO, and honestly, my little brother could have started on that team when he was 13. So it wasn't people were beating my door down to get me to play for them. But
Sure.
I played third base. I was a defensive player. Like if you hit me the ball, you were out. But I was kind of a punch and Judy hitter, though. I didn't strike out much, but I didn't hit the ball hard a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what were you like? Did you hit? I never hit a home run in baseball in my entire life. My first home run was slow pitch softball when I was like 21.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. On that team that I just told you about, the one that was the summer travel team after my senior year, 4 people in a row hit home runs before I stepped up to the plate, and I barely grounded one to second base.
That's good.
Oh, man. And it was an away game, so I had to hear about it the whole ride home.
Yeah.
Such a nightmare.
And the thing is, the after the second guy, from the third guy on, they're all thinking the same thing. Like, I don't want to be the guy now.
Absolutely.
And then crazy. You end up being the guy. And so they were making fun of you out of relief.
Yeah. The fourth guy, the guy right before me, he hit the ball so far over the fence that it hit the roof of an aluminum storage shed at the high school. And it sounded like a bomb went off. And then I just go up there. Beep, 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 beep.
It would have been better if you beat it out, though. Like if it was so bad that you beat it out, like it was a bunt that got just past the pitcher.
I think it happened exactly how it should have. Just a weak bleeder to second, and then I can't even get to first in time. That was such a nightmare.
And so that was the first out of the inning too, right?
First out of the inning, and then everybody for the rest of the time I got up. It was a doubleheader because you always played doubleheaders to get all your games in.
Yep.
Every time I had an at bat, the whole bench would go, "Look alive, second base! Look alive! You gotta look alive now."
I think that is what I love about baseball.
Yeah, me too. All the
like and how we would just bust balls like that.
Yeah.
Like when you could make an error that was very costly and was like a very bad thing in the game, and your teammates would just relentlessly bust your balls about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the next ball that got hit you, they'd be like, "Don't boot it." Like on the fucking field next to you. Like, we're trying to win this game together, guys.
No, they're trying to win the shit talking trophy.
Yeah.
They don't care about the championship or anything like that. They want to be the best shit talker.
And the thing was, that's what made you make the next play, though, was having a sense of humor in that moment.
Yeah.
And it relaxed you. And so you just fielded the next one like you were supposed to, like muscle memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that if it would have been quiet and no one would have given you any grief, I mean,
you're booting the next 5.
Yeah, that's when it starts. You go Chuck Knobloch all of a sudden. Can't
start watching yourself throw the ball.
Yeah, right.
I remember that when he had the yips that year.
That was brutal to watch.
I distinctly remember them showing those replays and looking at him. I mean, he would be watching himself throw the ball. That I've never seen anyone do that, not even in Little League.
That's a brain jam.
Oh God, he was so fucked. That's crazy.
Yep.
And I feel like baseball is the only sport where you get the yips like that. And maybe golf a little bit.
Yeah, putter. I mean, I hear that when people putt all the time as they're going through to hit the ball with their putter, they'll just do a little bit of a wrist flick or whatever, and then they have no chance.
It's a Charles Barkley moment. It's so what I was getting ready to say was, like, I think there's 2 kinds of comics, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but I felt like when I got into comedy that like the whole baseball team thing, everybody busting your balls and all that.
Yeah.
Like I always felt like that prepared me very well for comedy.
Sure.
And because the ball busting that can take place in a green room and amongst your peers and all that stuff, I never expected to run into comics that couldn't handle that.
Isn't that something to see?
I mean,
yeah,
I like, and then the guys that are always on off stage, I didn't
sure.
expect that either.
Yeah,
Because I don't know if you ever did any theater in high school, but one of the crazy like little like I don't know, mind fucks that I had in my life was when I was doing the theater stuff and the drama stuff, everyone was so like all inclusive and all
sure.
love, and we love everybody. And this is, the early 90s, so I'm still making fun of the gay kids and shit. And like I'm going in, for me, theater was just a fun thing to do, and I took
Right.
baseball seriously, and this, that,
You're,
and the
you're
other
like the
thing.
first Zac Efron. You're the original Zac Efron.
But except after my sophomore year, I quit doing all theater because I couldn't fucking stand anybody.
That's a bummer.
But for that exact reason, that's what it was. Like everybody had to be acting all the time. Everything was this big dramatic thing. And I only did it when we were at rehearsal and when we were doing the play or whatever we
Sure.
were doing. When we were done, I was talking about baseball, and I was,
Yep.
and these guys are like, I'm ready for my close-up. Like,
Okay.
like I remember walking into the drama room after school one day, and this girl's sitting there crying, and I'm like, "Oh, how are you okay? You know what's going on?" And she's like, "I lost somebody really close to me today." And I'm just sitting here like, you couldn't have just said like my grandpa died, like everything had to be like that.
Well, it's called the drama room, for Christ's sake.
I know.
I mean,
But the big like twist in reality is they all had that we love everybody thing.
right.
But I realized it was no, we love everybody that acts like us. Because
Yeah. I mean,
when I would
obviously wasn't there, but
when I would do a play,
Mhm.
every single one of my teammates would come to it and have like the time of their lives.
of course.
And we're supportive too. I mean, they didn't really bust my balls about it because like I was decent, so they were kind of impressed, and they were also impressed with the fact I had the balls to do it because they didn't,
Yep.
that kind of thing. Not a single drama kid. I never saw a single one of them at a baseball game ever.
Yeah. I mean, I think it starts with your baseball buddies wanting to get some dirt on you, and that's why they showed up. And I don't know. I mean, we had a kid who so funny, athletic. He's on the varsity teams when he played a sport, and then he was also in plays, and he would always take the comedic role, and it was great. I mean, there is that stigma, especially like you said, early 90s, where a guy's like, yeah, I'm gonna go do this, and everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would do. Is there free ice cream and BJ's at the drama room?
Yeah, sometimes. That was the thing. All my girlfriends came out of drama. Like I didn't, the girls didn't. I didn't get the girls through athletics. I got them through drama. but then they were a lot to deal with. So, I ended up with some kind of like, I don't know, undiagnosed something back in there that made me just pursue drama queens, like
Sure.
chicks that want all the attention.
I lost somebody close to me today, and you're like, yeah, it was your boyfriend. I killed him. Let's make out. What's happening? I have access to the baseball bat closet.
Well, and like we would get like in the drama kit, we'd get dressed in the same room and shit. Like there's chicks in bras and panties around, because it's, oh no, we're all, we're.
Yeah, because it's for the performance. It's not, they don't expect people to be in there.
This isn't sexual. This is
right.
Yeah,
exactly. They're just, everyone's supposed to be professional. The show must go on. Yeah.
Meanwhile, my fucking dick's burning for a week because I got shampoo in it, needing something to jerk off with.
Well, listen.
In the shower,
you don't. You don't need a shot for shampoo, so that's good. I thought that story was headed somewhere else.
Well, you had to wonder about a dude that was in that room and not, not getting excited. I mean, I
would
remember
just end up in a corner, just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well, what was funny is like that's after my sophomore year, I didn't do it anymore. And those first 2 years of high school, I was 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing. I didn't even grow hair under my arms till I was like 17.
You were Rudy?
Oh.
You were Rudy Rudiger in high school?
And I hung in there with the best college football team in the land for 4 years. Or no, 2 years. Yeah, I was. I mean, dude, I could sit in a chair my freshman year of high school and my feet could dangle.
Oh, nice.
I was the littlest, tiniest kid, and I went from like 5'4" to 6 foot, like almost in all one summer.
Oh man, your parents hated buying clothes for you.
Well, when I was a sophomore, I had size 12 feet, but I was still like 5'6".
It's always funny watching that age kids just almost like they're walking out of a ski chalet. You're like, yeah, good luck not tipping over with those, dipshit.
I'm amazed that I stayed coordinated. I think it's because I was just small. It was just real quick.
Sure.
And then like I was coping with the big feet the whole time.
Okay.
So I think maybe, and plus if I grew another like 5-6 inches, I might have lost it, but it wasn't, 6 foot's not crazy tall.
But growing that fast.
I had horrible back problems.
I would say back, and then there's also this thing called Osgood Slaughters.
Yeah, that you get your knees, the big bump in the knee. Yep.
Tendons pull off your kneecaps.
Mm-hmm. That I didn't actually get that, but I had a friend who had it really bad.
Well, none of that shit sounds worse than a Tasmanian devil tattoo.
I think you're right, because you did that by choice.
Yeah, that was on purpose.
That was on purpose.
I didn't drink in high school either. This wasn't like a, hey, do whatever you want. This was, I think I'd like that.
Yeah, but you had to at least think it was funny.
I didn't really know back.
Oh, actually, Tasmanian Devil, no. But the Herschel Walker, the Chester Cheetah Herschel Walker thing.
That one makes me giggle, yes.
Yes.
But
I would keep that one because that's hilarious.
Taz is staying. They're all staying. I'm too old to start buffing out spots on my body.
Start regretting it.
Right.
Did you ever have do you have a distinct moment that you can pinpoint where you kind of switched over from athlete to entertainer?
No, not really. I mean, there was I had a coach one time that told me, hey, I could have given this spot to a couple other people, but I think you're going to be fantastic on the bus. Okay.
Don't underestimate that shit.
Thanks, coach.
What position did you play defensively?
I played outfield. Didn't matter which one, just kind of all.
Could you run?
Yeah, I was fast then. Well, I'm
yeah,
older.
but what if you're racing other 45-year-olds?
Well, I got a new hip a couple years ago too.
What?
Yeah, I got a full hip replacement.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
So you're Bo Jackson.
Well, I don't know that I'm Bo Jackson. It's just I remember my dad said, "You'll never need a hip replacement." I just got one just to prove him wrong. I'm just kidding. How crazy would that be if that was a real story? If he was like,
fuck the $5 bill, dude. This is next level, bro.
No, my grandpa on my mom's side had 3 total hip replacements. So 2 on one side, 1 on the other.
So this is genetic.
Yeah. And then, but also overuse. I ran a ton in my 20s, like a ding dong. And I run like a Clydesdale. I mean, you can hear me coming around the block, just clap.
So you really hard steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. So you like, are you
Yeah,
like a heel? You don't stay
yeah.
on the balls of your feet. You're like a heel first.
Right.
Ooh, that'd be
It's more
horrible.
like it's more like when people drive by, they're like, is he walking quickly? What is he doing? It looks more like that motion.
How the fuck were you fast running like that?
Well, because when I would run in sports, I would run on the balls of my feet.
Okay.
And
But
I would
then when you
actually
ran
sprint.
in your 20s, you decided to stop doing that?
Well, because I would run to the gym, but you sprint to first base. You sprint to a pop-up. You don't sprint 2 miles to the gym. I mean, some
You
people
jog.
do, and you jog. And I didn't know how to land on the balls of my feet while I was jogging. So I just kind of
Plop, plop, plop.
yeah,
plop.
exactly.
Oh, God. No wonder. I suddenly have a lot less regrets about my sedentary lifestyle pretty much my whole adult life. I've had like moments where I worked out for like a period of time, but just couldn't maintain it.
Yeah.
It never became a habit. Never became one of those things that I couldn't live without. Like most people that work out a lot, it's like they have to fucking work out or they feel like shit.
Yep.
And I've never had that happen to me. I've never gotten over that hill or that hump or whatever.
I like it. I mean, there must be some truth to all the science, that says it makes you happier, it releases endorphins, all of that stuff. Because I always feel better if I work out in the morning, and even if it's something, not too long, hitting the heavy bag for a half hour or jumping rope or anything, it just kind of gets the blood pumping.
Well, and that's what
I'm so hot with this stupid hat on.
That's what I've always tried to figure out was how to do kind of a maintainable thing that I kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
I was always a shitty worker outer, but if I could go play basketball for an hour,
right,
I would enjoy that. And, I'd get in better shape and this, that, and the other thing. But you also got to get motivated to do that in the first place.
Oh, man, there were times in my life when this is probably 20s, where I would go. My wife at the time worked at a college, which are really great facilities. And so I would go play basketball for an hour, go lift weights for an hour, and then do some more cardio after that. Or I would go it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday for basketball. So Tuesday, Thursday, I'd go into their hockey arena and I would just skate for an hour. And it was crazy. I mean, no wonder I need a new hip. It's insane what I was doing. My friends would always ask me, "You training for something?" I'm like, no,
I'm just a lunatic.
I just want my pictures from 25 to 45 to look like a completely different person. That's my hope. And guess what? It worked.
So
unrecognizable.
So previous to 25, what'd you look like?
Well, I was just, like everybody, younger, thinner, no beard.
And so you wanted to look better.
Muscly.
Post 25 is what?
No, I just think that's when it happened.
Oh, I got you.
I got pretty chubby early 20s. I was the fattest I've ever been on my wedding day, and I thought that would be amazing because I thought it'd be funny because then every time she looked at me,
from that point on, you'd look better.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. She'd look at the picture and go, "Oh God, I made the right decision here."
I can't believe it didn't work out.
Yep, good one.
You see what happens when we become driven too late.
Yeah, so then I just decided when I had my son, I decided to get back into somewhat of
into fighting shape,
living shape.
Was that about like staying alive longer because you were about to be a father, or was?
No, it was after he was born. So I tried a bunch of different ways. Like we had at the apartment that we lived in at the time, there was a swimming pool, an indoor swimming pool.
Mhm.
and no one ever used it except for the weekend. So I would bring him in there and just set him in his car seat when he was sleeping. I'd swim laps.
Nice.
But I never really got back on track. And then once he started running around, I was winded out in the yard. And so I was like, well, this is absolutely ridiculous.
So I need to play with him better. I need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And see, it's funny that you brought that up, because I thought about this earlier when you were talking about your daughter coming over now and
Mhm.
getting a chance to enjoy that a little more, slow down, smell the roses a bit, so to speak. And, I've got so many friends now that, they still got kids that are between like 8 and 11,
Sure.
and my son's 18. Like I'm done.
Oh, that's what you think.
well, I mean, no, I'm not. I
know.
trust me, I get that, but like, I'm done financially supporting him at least.
Sure.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm done paying child support. But anyway, so like, but I'm so envious because, 18 years ago, I'm 24, and I wasn't equipped to be a dad at 24. I wasn't ready for that. And I was still trying to figure out who I was. So I was still very selfish.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go through that.
And I'm envy my friends that I mean, I'm watching them. They smell the roses a hell of a lot more than I ever did at that point.
Sure.
Most of my memories of my son being little are vague or inspired by a picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because I wasn't completely focused on being a dad. So it's pretty cool that, probably around a similar age with your son, you kind of had that revelation.
Yeah, I just needed to. And I think, we talked about my dad, and I think that he was kind of in a weird way, an inspiration to how I parent. Is that a new one? It sure is. You barely had to lift that one, and the last one went all the way back.
Yeah, well, this one here's my new thing I'm doing right now. This is alcohol. These are I always drink rum normally.
Okay.
I'm not a beer drinker at all. I don't really like I don't not like beer, but I also don't see the point in drinking alcohol at all if you're not going to get some kind of buzz off of it.
Sure.
Just drink fucking water or a soft drink if that's the case. So that's why I usually drink liquor, because beer, you have to drink so much of it, I'd weigh 400 fucking pounds. So like, so these like fruit, these are called, what are these called? Four Loco or something. They're like these fruity, like the first one was sour apple and this one's watermelon, but they're like 14 or 12% alcohol.
Oh, wow. You're getting it then.
So I can like drink a couple of them and,
Sure.
and they taste all right. And I'm, I don't eat much these days. So I'm just drinking the alcohol, and, I'm going to come out of this pandemic, either dead or a way better person. It's going to be one of those two.
Well, I look forward to seeing which one.
I think you should start a pool.
You've been in my dead pool for the last 17 years.
Where do I rank?
You've been in my top 3 every year because you get extra points. And when you texted me about doing this podcast, I was actually furious that you're still alive. I mean, I'm glad things are going great or whatever, but hustle up.
Yeah. So who's in the other? Who are the other 2 of the top 3? I'm curious.
Listen, I don't think legally I can tell you one of them.
Okay.
But the other one is the lead singer from the band Heart.
Yeah, she's number one on my list.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna dump this out right now. I'm gonna shape up. I'm gonna instantly change my life. That was, sometimes the Lord sends you a sign, and I feel like I got to connect the dots there. We got the same number one on the Deadpool list. There's something there. I should pay attention.
I think this is speaking of there's a first time for everything. I think this is the first time the Lord ever used me to deliver a message.
See?
Feels great.
I think it should.
It feels great.
Okay, so when your dad stole the car.
Yep.
Were you in Fergus Falls?
Yes. So I bought a car.
It's got to be hard to get away with, right? In a town like that.
So, but I've told this story on other podcasts, so I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah. I shouldn't.
I'll give you the nuts and bolts of it. Cliff's Notes. That's what I was trying to think of, but it's past my bedtime. I bought a car. Something was wrong with the engine, so I brought it back to the dealership. They gave me a loaner car. My dad must have heard about that somehow because he called me and said, "You and your sister should come up." He was living in Fargo, North Dakota. It's about an hour away. And he said, "You guys should come up. I'll buy you guys lunch. I'd love to see you." Anytime he said, "I'd love to see you," we knew something was up. And so we went there. We were sitting down in the mall. He brought us to a restaurant in a mall. And we were like, "This is awesome. Thank you so much." And he goes, "Oh, can I use your keys? I forgot something in the car." So he leaves, comes back, gives me my keys, and he has a little brown paper bag with a Sporting Goods logo on it. And we were like, "You didn't bring that in the car." And he goes, "Oh, no, I just made a quick stop." I was like, "All right." So then about a month later, I brought the loaner car back. I got my car after the repairs were done. My dad called me again. He said, "I really need your help. Can you please come give me a ride from Fargo to Fergus Falls?" I was like, "Okay." So I drive up there. I get him. And I knew something was up because back then the speed limit was 65. And anytime I would go over 65, he'd go, "Slow down, slow down." And I was like, "This seems neat. I'm an accessory to something."
All of a sudden he's being a dad.
Right.
No.
So we get to town and he goes, "You need to go to the car dealership." And we drove around and he goes, "There it is." And it was the car that they had loaned me to use. What he had done at lunch is he went to this sporting goods store and he had made copies of the keys. And so he got in, started the car, but the steering wheel locked. And I remember he was in such a panic. He got out with the door open, one hand on the wheel, one hand on the open door, and was trying to rock it to unlock the steering wheel. And I just go, "Why don't you turn it off and turn it back on?" And he did. And immediately, I didn't know it would work, but it did. And then,
so you were an accessory.
Yeah.
Actually.
No clue. But so that's how that happened. And then he took off, drove to Las Vegas that night.
I have to respect the brilliance of it a little bit to go get the keys made and go back and get it later. And I mean,
the plotting of stealing the car is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Telling your children you want to see them
is an ass. Yeah, that's you being a horrible human being. Yes.
I'm just kidding. My sister.
But stealing the car is also a horrible human being thing to do. But
I think it's pretty sweet.
But yeah, at the same time, you're kind of like, it's kind of cool. Whatever. Like,
I have to assume he got to someone he was meeting in Vegas and said, "It worked. My kid helped me steal a car." And I got home and I said to my sister, "We are rid of him."
Yeah.
That's it.
And somebody in Vegas was going, "That's a good kid. You did a good job. What a good fucking kid." Okay, so speaking of legality,
yeah.
Can you talk about the thing? Can you talk about?
That's my thing.
Oh, that's your story? Okay,
Yep.
well we'll get to that then. We won't go there yet. Apparently, so was that before, we won't get into it right now, but was the lawsuit against you personally, or was it against the radio station?
It was against the radio station and me, and they had linked us as defendant. Wait, what? Yeah, they'd linked us, and so that's why I had to be part of it, because they were going after the radio station's deep pockets, because it was, what was it, Clear Channel?
I don't know if they were Clear Channel at the time.
It was
maybe
it was a big station, and they were going after their pocket.
Yeah.
But in doing so, I had to hire an attorney that would I mean, we're already telling the story. Should we just do it?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Okay.
we might as well.
So I came down to Des Moines, Iowa. Maybe you've heard of it. And I was at the Funny Bone, and the Funny Bone was approximately 10,000 miles away from the hotel.
Yeah, it was after it moved, and it was the same hotel from the old club for a while.
Yeah, so it was
because Paul had the deal.
Right. And the club was now in West Des Moines.
Yeah.
Where several Olympic gymnasts train.
Yes.
And then the hotel was way back in Des Moines, normal Des Moines.
Well, actually, Urbandale.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Urbandale.
Yes.
Oh, believe me, I've seen stacks of papers with that name on it. Urbandale. Cool. Oh, my God. I just started shaking.
Dude, that hotel is now surrounded by 3 bigger hotels.
Oh, that's really funny.
Like, there's
so
it was
a microtel, right?
Yeah. Now there's like a Holiday Inn and like a Marriott or something on each side of it, and there's like this much space between them, and they both dwarf it. It's hilarious.
So I'm at the microtel with my friend Jeff Tate, who's working with us, and we don't drink at the club because we have to drive home. So we drove all the way back,
and there's a bar right there.
Yeah, there was a Ruby Tuesdays. And then just so it was like a cul-de-sac. On one side, Ruby Tuesdays. On the other side, it was this bar. And so we walked to the bar to get a drink. And there was karaoke that night. Now, in the bar, there was the bartender. And there were 2 other people in the bar. That's it. 2 customers. And they were players on the hockey team that the bar sponsored. So this bar sponsored a hockey team. There are 2 players. I'm assuming they went in to get their free drink, whatever. But there's karaoke going on. So there's also the karaoke host. So that's 4 total people in there. Jeff and I walk in. We both sing a song. We decide it's kind of boring. We ask if there's another bar we could go to. They tell us across the bridge there's a fun bar with pool and whatever else. So I sign my slip. We take off. We go over to the other bar. And I realize when I'm over there, I don't have my credit card. So I was like, oh, I must have forgot it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I must have forgot it at the room. So these 2 hockey players and the bartender closed the bar we were just at that had karaoke early, and they came over. And right when they got
to the same bar. Oh, they came to the bar you were at already?
Yeah, they came to the bar.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Yep. And then they bought us a round of shots, and we were like, this is awesome. Thank you. And then, so, we have some more drinks. We take off. They're very friendly. The people from the bar, the hockey players and the bartender. And then early in the morning, before I have to do radio for press, the hotel manager's knocking on the door, like violently pounding on the door. And he's like, hey, listen, sorry to bother you. Capital One needs to talk to you right now. And I was like, how do they know I'm here? I don't know. I still don't know how they figured out exactly where I was. Maybe they had called home and my wife told them.
Or did you use the card for the amenities or whatever when you checked in, when they always.
I could have done that. That could be. So they tell me, they go, hey, did you try to get gas 4 different times at a gas station? And I was like, nope. And they were like, did you try to spend $200, $400, and $600 at a parking garage? And I thought, I don't even know who would do that. And so then they were like, all right. So we figured out I'd left my card at that bar.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that were there, some or all, had used the card.
Mm-hmm.
So I go on radio, and I go into the radio station, and I'm telling this story.
You're seething angry, by the way.
I'm telling the story, and this is off air. And so when we get on air, the sports guy asks me about the story, and I start to tell it. And then the guy who kind of runs the show, his name was First.
Yeah, Lou.
Well, I'm not going to name names, but
sorry.
He was kind of like, "Are you sure about this?"
Yeah, maybe stop.
And I go,
don't say the name of the bar.
Yeah, and then the sports guy kept asking me questions, and then the very talented weather lady. I mean, they all did the whole show together, but they had their specialties, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
and then she was kind of impartial and we were all laughing about it, and I was kind of spazzing out. And I gave the name of the bar, and I said, make sure you use cash if you ever go in there, and all this stuff. Right? I was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm home in Fergus Falls. About a month later, my wife and kids are gone. They went shopping, and I can't get a hold of my wife, and it started to rain. And I was like, they were hour and a half late. A highway patrolman pulls into my driveway, and I think, oh my God, my family's dead.
Yeah.
And this guy's about to tell me that my family's dead. And I didn't know what to do. I started falling apart mentally. And so I get out there, and I'm like shaking. My hands are shaking. And he goes, "Are you Chad Daniels?" And I go, yeah, I can barely talk. And he goes, "All right." And he hands me something. He goes, "You've been served." And I was like, that's it? That's amazing. So listen, if you're going to get served, you should tell yourself your family's dead beforehand. It makes it way better.
It makes it way better. The problems just fall off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So before you go any further, so this is your first lawsuit. This is why we're first time for everything. Like,
this is my first time being sued.
Have you been sued since?
Nope.
So you're first and only.
First and only. Absolutely right. So I have to figure out, I call my wife's uncle, who's a very smart guy, very well connected, president of a college. He gives me some names because he used to live in Iowa. So he knew some people, because I had to have an Iowa lawyer. And so I end up getting in touch with this guy who I loved. He was so cool. He was so good to me. When I came down for some reason, I can't think of the name of what they are right now, but it's basically when you give your sworn testimony outside of court. When we went down, you know,
talking about the initial hearing.
Well, it wasn't the hearing. There's a name for it when you record your testimony if you can't be in court, just in case. But I can't remember what it is. But anyways, I remember the bartender had to be there once, and she had to come back from Arizona, and she was like, I don't know. I kind of feel angry that I had to come home from vacation. And I was like, you feel angry? I've had to drive down here 5 times.
And you stole $800 from me, by the way.
Well, here's the thing. It ended up being one of the hockey players. And he ended up calling me, begging for me not to press charges because I have a drinking problem. My wife's going to leave me. And I was like, dude, no shit. She's going to leave you. You steal credit cards. That's a federal offense. And
so he stole it off the bar probably when she handed you the card back when you were signing. Well, because how would he get his hands on it? Otherwise, it'd be behind the bar,
I don't know any of that stuff. So we end up, like I said before, because the radio station was a big time radio conglomerate, they were trying to sue them.
Defamation.
Yeah. And So let's go through this. For 6 months during the lawsuit, their lawyer, we had to put a pause in the lawsuit because their lawyer got pulled over and had cocaine in the car.
Yes.
He was a family friend. So you kind of can feel the slimy pieces of shit that these people are.
Yes. Yes.
In my opinion, just in case, allegedly.
It sounds like, have you seen Rake?
I don't think so.
I think it's on Netflix. It's about an Australian show, but he's a barrister in Australia, and he's this huge piece of shit, but he's really good at his job.
Oh,
just does drugs and fucks hookers and like all kinds of shit. It's really fun. You should watch it. But that's what I'm thinking right now is this lawyer is fucking Rake.
he was just such a douche.
Bronson Pinchot in True Romance. Say it's yours. Put this in your purse.
Yeah, man, it was just brutal because like
after they put the pause, then what?
Well, the whole thing lasted 3 years.
Yeah.
And
It lasted fucking forever.
It cost me a total of $27,000 in 3 years.
Did you recoup it?
I couldn't because you can't in Iowa. You can't countersue for a frivolous lawsuit if there's any single piece of truth to why they're suing you. And they were suing me because I'd mentioned the bar's name, and they claimed loss of business. Listen up, man. Karaoke night, you had 3 people in there. One was an employee before we walked in. Sorry for the loss of business.
Yeah, and they went belly up anyway.
Well, here's what made me laugh really hard is my wife at the time. We were trying to figure out a way to how we were going to do this. And by the way, I went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and won $10,000 in a contest. And they asked me on stage, "What are you going to do with this money?" And I just go, "Sign it over to my lawyer," and walked off stage. Because it's the truth. I mean, it was going. Of
course it is.
I owed money to the legal team. So, what was I talking about here?
You had to pay the lawyers. It was.
We're talking about belly up. So
yeah, the bar went belly up. Yeah.
So my wife goes, "How about this? How about we get divorced? You leave me everything. And then when the lawsuit's over, you can file for bankruptcy. When the lawsuit's over, we'll get married again. We'll have the reception at that bar. And it'll be a cash bar only."
Oh my God. I feel like this should have worked out actually. Now that you told me that.
She's so stinking funny. There was one time, and never mind, I won't tell you that story, but because that one's, I don't know if she'd be comfortable with it, but yeah, really, really funny. And I just thought it was just so crazy because the next time I came down to Des Moines is when you and I worked there with Patrick Keene.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year.
Yeah. I had been talking about it on my podcast. I told the story on my podcast, and I said, everyone who comes to the show, and we had a very nice turnout on a Tuesday.
It was great. Yeah, it was great.
And I told everybody, I said, we're going to go to this bar and we're going to order waters. That's it. And so that was my big plan when I came back to town. But, I guess the bar had changed hands 3 times.
Well, I had told you that.
Yeah.
I remember I texted you like a week or 2 before you were coming, I think.
Yeah.
Because I said, like, I'm really glad you're coming back now that bar's out of business or whatever.
Well, I was excited. I think it would be such a hard burn to bring 200 people to a bar and only order waters and then walk out.
I'm pretty sure whoever owned that bar is probably in some way, shape, or form still in the bar business. We'll have to do some digging and find out if they own another place now, because if that's the case,
well, listen,
you got to come back in 2021 and we're going to make that fucking happen. We're going to take the whole crowd there and get water and go to the bar across the street.
One of those people may or may not be the number 2 person on my Deadpool.
And that's why legally you can't say their name.
I'll tell you why I can't say their name, because I put them on my Deadpool, because you get disqualified if you kill the person.
If you kill them, yes.
And that was my saving grace. I'm hedging my bets on not murdering somebody. It's a joke if you're watching and you have a legal degree.
Is there a bigger, like, recession proof, almost a pyramid schemey type scam, but at the same time so necessary than attorneys and lawyers? Like, it's so much of just filing papers,
right?
And you spend so little time actually interacting with them, and then when you do, you get charged $200 an hour for a fucking 15-minute phone call.
If you leave a 1-minute message, so they go in 15-minute increments.
Yep.
If you leave a 1-minute message, that counts as 15 minutes, and that's $200.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
And then, and the way they, like you said, like 15 minutes, and then how about 3 or 4 emails, and then whatever else, and all of a sudden you get your what do you call it? Your invoice, and and you can't dispute any of it, but you don't remember any of it either.
Right.
Like, I don't remember that taking that long.
Something I forgot to tell you is, speaking of invoices, when they tried to charge $200, $400, and $600 at a parking garage, it was actually, that's what a strip club puts on your credit card statement so your wife doesn't get mad at you. So they tried to add all of this stuff.
That is brilliant.
Strip club. Yeah. So I always think it's interesting that a cop needs to go to school for 6 months and he can give you a ticket. He or she can give you a ticket. And an attorney has to go to school for like 8 years
to get you out of the ticket.
It's the craziest system.
In the small amount of training, like, I look back at, the beginning of the pandemic, and when the BLM movement was going really hard and all that stuff was happening, and there was shit going down in Des Moines. And I remember watching all these protesters like on one knee or sitting down at the Capitol. And it got to the point where, the cops were all standing there in riot gear, and now they're telling everybody to go home. And then when people don't go home, they start shooting off tear gas and shit like that.
Right.
Even though they were just sitting down.
Yeah.
Or on one knee. Now, granted, there's a bunch of them doing this shit and whatever else, but like, that doesn't seem to me like a means to de-escalate something.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting what rallies get tear gases and what rallies don't, but
because the other
my dog, that's my dog.
Because the other rallies, the KKK rallies, they go ahead of time to the police force and tell them they're coming. And
shut up. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I got to do that with my dog a lot, but he's pretty chill right now. He's getting old. He's got a bad hip, actually. He's a big dude. My dog weighs 20 pounds, I think now. He used to weigh 140, and
wow,
got him down a few because of all the pressure on his hip and stuff. But
I didn't lose any weight. Pressure on my hip.
Well, you didn't change your food. You should have changed your food.
Yeah, that's true. I've had to pee since the 40-minute mark, so I have 5 minutes left before I start just peeing on this chair.
I actually recommend that to people.
Sorry,
I'm
going to let him outside. Hold on.
All right.
Talk about whatever you want.
You know what? Go pee while you're doing that. Okay, so I've encouraged Chad to go pee because I would love to have him for 15 more minutes. I don't know how the rest of you guys feel, but man, I enjoy talking to this guy so much. He's so smart and so funny, and it's just and we've got probably a few more stories. I remember
Oh, I'm back.
oh, I thought you should have peed out there with the dog real quick.
Oh, that would have been a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I told you fucking pee. I'll hold it down
I didn't
for
hear.
a minute. I mean, I would have peed with my dog at that point if I were you. That's what I would have done. But that's what I was getting ready to say is I recommend that. I remember going to it was an Iowa State game in Iowa City, and we left town at like 6 a.m. And I think the game was like at 2:30. So we start drinking. Iowa City's an hour and a half from here. So we're drinking at 7:30. And it's come time to like go to the game and all that. And there's like porta potties outside of the stadium.
Sure.
And by the time we get to those porta potties, it's been an hour. And I'm in pain. Like pain. Like I'm pretty sure my dick's leaking a little bit at this point. Like I can't even hold it together anymore. And I finally get into one of those porta potties. And that moment of sweet release was it made it all worth holding my piss for that long. Like it was kind of a lesson, like almost like Buddhist, like just suffer the pain, and then the release is just so much better at that point.
I mean, I've done that before, and you can see the color come back into your face.
Oh my God.
It's insane.
It's like winning when all you've done is lost.
That was very zen of you.
Okay, so I brought up that week with Butch Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that the week you got the glass thrown at you?
No, I was there with Kevin Naughton that time.
Okay. So that was later.
Yep.
The thing I remember about, and I think it kind of made me make that connection with thinking like, oh my God, because I remember the crowd just sucking that night.
They were horrible.
And you ended your set by just fucking walking off. Because I was emceeing and I was young. Like I was green. I was pretty green.
When I got the glass thrown at me, you mean?
No. I'm talking about that first time I met you.
Oh,
when you were opening for Butch Lord.
Yep.
And I remember telling you that week that I was like, you're by far the best feature I've ever seen. Like and of course you were. Of course you were. But like, well, and don't let me forget, I remember you saying something really cool to me several years later, but I just remember that I think it might have been the last set, like the last Saturday night set. I can't remember, but it was fucking horrible. And you just walked off. Like somebody had to come and get me. Because there was
I did my time.
No, you did your time. Trust me, I was green enough that I wasn't paying close enough attention or whatever.
Yeah, I did my time, but I always had that feeling like, I was young, but if I'm going to stand up here and take the shots, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but if I don't think you've deserved a thank you, or excuse me, if I don't think you've earned a thank you, I'm not going to give you. I mean, that's like earning respect in everyday life. And if you're that bad of a crowd, then I'm not going to say thanks, good night. I'll just go.
When I remember that moment though, as being, that was one of those moments that let me know it was okay to blame the audience, because everything that was ever shoved into my fucking head up until then, there's no bad audiences, only bad comics and only bad decisions and blah, blah, blah. And I have always said since that day, look, man, we always give the crowd the credit. When we have a great set, the first thing the other comic says to you in the green room is, how were they? They don't say, how were you?
Right.
Like "Oh, how'd you do?" They say, "How were they?" And you go, "Oh, they were awesome. They were great." So you gave them credit for it being a good show. Well, then you can blame them for a bad one too. Fuck that, you know?
Right.
And so you walked off. But that moment when I was like, I talked about it in the intro where it was just very like, you weren't just the best feature at that moment. I was like best feature, but like now when I look back, I was like, you were the best comic, because I remember Butch Lord, who was the headliner,
Mm-hmm.
did the same fucking thing
Oh,
at the end of his set. He just walked off, which was awesome. But at the same time, I was like, oh, like I just saw a headliner do what the feature did instead of the reverse. So it just it it made a weird like connection in my head where I was like, this guy is just, I don't know, he's going somewhere beyond this.
all the way to court in Des Moines.
Yeah.
Iowa.
But didn't you open for Mitch Hedberg for a really long time, or not a really long time, but like for a while?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to open for him when I house emceed in Grand Forks, North Dakota 3 times. And then once I started working on the road, he brought me with him to some places, and very, very kind person for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely missed, man. And I always wondered if maybe that happened pretty early, right?
Yeah, so I did open mic at Acme Comedy Company for 6 months, and then I got asked to go to Grand Forks after that 6 months. So
where was the connection there? Like, was there someone from Grand Forks at at a show or something?
no, it was basically Minneapolis guys would go up there, house MC, and then when they were done, they would come down and find their replacement.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All the way up to fucking North Dakota?
Yep. Yeah. So it's from Minneapolis, it was about
It's like 6 hours, isn't it?
4.5.
4.5? Yeah,
Yep.
that's a long ass ways to go be a house MC, though.
That's true. Yeah. And 3 weeks after I got there, my girlfriend at the time, then wife, then ex-wife, called me and she goes, "Hey, I'm pregnant." And I was like, "All right, I guess I haven't even unpacked my stuff. I'll just come back." And she goes, "No, you don't need to. I'll need you in the 3rd trimester for sure, but I'd like you to stay up there because I think this will be good for you." So, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this shit privately. So you've got this polar opposite experience, except we're in the same situation. I gotta fucking unpack this, man. We're gonna have. I mean, I have therapy Wednesday, so I'll figure some of it out then. But you and I are gonna have to discuss this privately because my fucking mind's blown right now.
Done deal.
Well, I feel like I need to let you go pee at this point.
Thank you so much.
And I can't thank you enough for coming on here, brother, man.
Thanks for having me.
You know how much I love and respect you. And before we go, the one thing I wanted to say to you was you said something really cool to me at some point, and it was at a very key moment in my career where I really needed it. And you didn't know that. It just happened. But it was it goes back to that story you told about Paul on the radio after Paul died. But when I came into the club and I had that Eddie Murphy comedian notebook that I bought with the fucking front of it, and we were laughing our balls off and doing the jokes, and Paul comes out of the oven, lemonade.
Well, actually, I don't know if you remember this. We were doing lemonade, and we go lemonade, and from the office, he goes, "That cool, refreshing."
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes.
He didn't even come out. He was just sitting in there.
We were just standing outside waiting to get paid, doing all the bits.
So funny.
And but I remember it was so funny because you know how these little things when you're when you're just kind of a creative person or an art, I don't want to say artist because I feel like that's pretentious, but like the things that will inspire you to start creating a little bit or start working a little bit. You know, like there was a Halloween store going out of business and I bought a bunch of costumes and it just made me write some shit, you know.
Nice.
But that notebook made me like write down a bunch of stuff. And that week I was getting ready to headline a couple of shows that were kind of important, at least to me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing a different 10-minute set every night when I was hosting that week.
Yep.
And at the end of the week, I remember you saying to me, you go, listen, I'm only going to say this once. But you're like, I've always thought you were funny. I've always thought you were funny. But you have really stepped it up a lot. And in that moment, I bet you that kept me in the business 2 more years. That conversation.
Huh. Well, I'm sorry.
You know what happens? Just somebody that you love and respect all of a sudden shows you a little bit of it, and you're like, holy shit, I kind of deserve to be here.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I remember having that conversation. I remember all the sets too, all the doing different stuff. So,
well, I'll never forget it, and it's always been something that I've had in the files back there, and that's why I will always walk through fucking fire for you, man. I love you and respect you so much, and I just can't wait to see what's next for you. And I don't know, man. At some point, I feel like we'll be writing some fucking animation show from Fergus Falls or something. Who knows? But
well, I don't have any plans to go anywhere ever again.
Yeah, apparently. me neither, man. I kept the house. So nice. All I have to do now is make sure I can pay for it.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. I hope we can do it again.
Sounds great.
Much love, brother.
Right back at you.
All right.